like this computer in the car overnight is cold.
Yeah. Oh, here's David. Hello.
Good morning, David. February 9th, regular board meeting to order at 10 a.m. Item 1.1, approval and adoption of the agenda.
I move we approve and adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Thank you so much. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And moving on to item 1.2, call to order and flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Moving on, item 1.3, approval and adoption of the minutes of the January 12th regular board meeting.
I'll move approval.
Thank you, David. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dawn. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item 1.4, public participation. Is there no public participation? Okay. There's nothing on the correspondence, no consent. Moving on to item 4.1, second read and approval of the board policies.
And for this, part of the approval of this, as was discussed in our last board meeting, would be to approve the board policies 5141.52 and 5145.13 and eliminate board policy 1445 because this the newly adopted one replaces the old one, and it's so that would be both an elimination and approval.
Questions, comments? Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve the new policy.
Thank
I'll
you,
second.
David. Dawn?
Does that motion include an elimination?
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 4.2, proclamation recognizing February 2026 as National Career and Technical Education Month.
We are happy to bring this to you. As you know, the Mendocino County Office of Education does quite a lot of work related to career and technical education. And so this recognizes the work that we're doing, and we'll find ways to celebrate it with our CTE programs and promoting the great CTE work that's being done within our school districts as well.
I have a question. What is OC Pathways?
Orange County.
Orange County?
And how does that intersect with us? Just curious.
That is in this resolution toward the bottom.
Yes. It makes a couple of references to OC.
I'm sorry, I looked over that and saw CTE where it says OC.
This is how it came from Eric Crawford.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, I'd like to change it. I would recommend that we change it to CTE pathways rather than OC. I think that was a typo.
And that acronym would be
CTE is Career and Technical
Career
Education.
Technical Education. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Good catch on that, Nancy. I was
Yes.
wondering the same.
I had to look it up and I kept seeing Orange County and I'm like,
That's
okay, I'm
not
trying to
us.
figure out how we dovetail.
No, yeah, we don't.
So do we need a motion to,
So we
Stop.
could make a motion to approve with the correction.
Right.
I move we adopt 4.2 with the correction, replacing the OC with the CTE.
Yes.
Thank you, Marilyn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 4.3, 2024-2025 financial audit report.
We're admitting Natalie into she's been in the waiting room for Zoom. So she's going to be joining us here in a second to,
Heather, do you or Suzanne, while we're waiting, want to say anything to prime us for this? And could you speak in the microphone so that those watching can hear? Thank you.
So we completed our 24-25 audit. There were one finding, but it wasn't, there were no financial implications. It had to do with ADA. And the incorrect divisor was used in calculating ADA. But that will be corrected, and then we made a plan going forward so that the mistake doesn't happen again. And things are looking pretty good. Our financial position looks good, and you all have the audit report, so you can see, you know, our financial statement, our assets and liabilities, and all of that stuff. So
And as a reminder to the board, ADA stands for average daily attendance.
yes, sorry,
Yes.
I get stuck in the acronyms and I forget to. Okay.
Are they joining now? Great.
Sky, will you be able to put Laura on the screen? Okay. Natalie, can you hear us okay?
I can't hear anything.
I can't hear you.
Uh-oh, ruh-roh.
Oh, wait, how about now?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I'm like, is it my turn? I wasn't sure.
Great, thank you for being with us. We would love to hear what you have to tell us.
Yes, of course. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm Natalie Poma. I'm a director with Christie White Associates and sort of helped the audit in this last fiscal year. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about our procedures, some of the things that we took a look at, some new pronouncement, anything new going on with the report this year, and then at the end I kind of go over our overall results. So in the 24-25 fiscal year, we conducted the audit of the county fund, the capital assets, long-term debt, compliance with both state and federal laws. Our audit covered a broad range of areas. We documented and tested internal controls in areas such as purchasing, cash disbursements, and we sort of did this by taking a look at checks and invoices and purchase orders, payroll by taking a look at time cards and personnel files, as well as cash receipts by taking a look at invoices, receipts, and deposits. Essentially, we take a sample of all of the deposits, all of the checks and everything, and we ask for support and make sure that everything reconciles correctly. We also conducted a single audit, which included the testing of internal controls and program compliance in one major program this year, which was a special education cluster. We did this by selecting expenditures that were expended by the program, as well as taking a look at federal compliance specific requirements and making sure that they were met. Finally, we tested all June 30th, 2025 balance sheet accounts such as cash, accounts receivables, accounts payables, capital assets, and long-term debt with revenue and expenditures by taking a look at bank statements and reconciliations, debt statements, and capital asset literacy. The only new thing this year was the pronouncement of the new GASB 101, which essentially changes how LEAs report compensated absences. So essentially prior to the 24-25 fiscal year, LEAs were only required to report a liability for the accumulated vacation leave. Under this new pronouncement, GASB 101, LEAs are now required to recognize a portion of the accumulated sick leave in addition to the vacation leave. So this change was implemented as a one-time adjustment. So you'll see that's why the net position was restated. But going forward, it should not impact, and we won't have to restate the net position. Let's see. So there was only one state compliance finding this year regarding the attendance reporting. During our audit, we identified a variance between our calculated ADA and the ADA that was reported in the annual report. And upon inquiry, I believe it was determined that the county had used an incorrect annual divisor of 136 days instead of the correct 180 days. However, there weren't any or will be any question costs since the county is not funded on the annual attendance and not a repeat finding. I believe upon discussion with the attendance auditor, they will now be approving and confirming the correct divisor is being used as an added review, so this should catch any errors going forward. Finally, all of the financial statement opinion, our state compliance opinion, and our federal compliance opinion were all unmodified, which is the best opinion that you can receive. And essentially, besides the one finding, that everything else looks great. I'd like to thank everyone at the county office for providing all of our samples and for all of their hard work and making sure the audit got done in a timely manner. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you for going over all the information, the updates, and the finding. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So seeing no questions, this is an action item that we approve the report, correct?
Is that correct? They approve, yes.
I move we approve item 4.3, our 2024-2025 financial audit report.
Thank you, Marilyn. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
Did I need to
Thank
say
you,
with that
Nat.
one correction in it? Okay.
It's in the report.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 4.4, approval of the comprehensive school safety plans.
So we work with an outside agency to get these plans drafted, and despite them knowing our deadline, they didn't get it to us until last night. And so it's coming to you really late. We have Chris Francis is here. He can talk about it. There is obviously not time for you to review and read it. However, and we do need to have this approved by March 1st. As fortune would have it, we are intending to have a special board meeting February 24th. So if the board is not comfortable approving these plans as they are, and there are things that we are not happy with them, and they are still, even after the board approves, still go to a safety committee and revisions get made along the way. There are some revisions that we see. For example, the Ore Creek one doesn't even have the name Ore Creek on it. So there are several things that we're unhappy with. Fortunately, the contract with that agency is running out, and my apologies for you not having time to read this. That's the reason why. Chris, I don't know if you want to say anything about the safety reports, or safety plans rather.
I can if you would.
Great.
So we have to bring these every year. It's a guide or a plan for everything from emergencies to shelter in place, a threat on site, to a medical emergency. Every year there's some changes in what needs to be added in there. For example, the immigration board policy that you just approved will go in there. That's an additional piece that has to be in there this year. But the other piece in here is that the school safety plan also has a goal area where the school sites pick some goal areas that they want to work on, and usually it's related to safety. So those get updated, and those are looked at by the data of the schools. So that might be one piece that Chris can talk a little bit about what they selected as goals for the year. But otherwise, everything is pretty much the same as previous years, unless laws have changed or things we had to add. That was a requirement. Do you want to maybe speak on the goals a little bit?
Do you want to pull up?
Start with the community school.
Sure, start with community school. And then also for this year, there had to be an update, but I think it's suicide prevention
Right.
plan and protocol that we added onto the onto the plan, and also some literature and signage to review mental health resources and processes that we have in place to support mental health, and also if there's any suicidal risk that happens. Okay, you can scroll. Oh, back. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, so part of the safety plan that we try and do for both Orr Creek and for community school is that we try to have these get input on them from guardians. And last year we were able to get some input for it, but it's been a real challenge this year to try and get families to come to our school site council meetings. So hopefully we'll have some people there in March for our meeting there. But we took it to a full safety committee that had representation for the office here, but also from both our bargaining units, from the classified and certificated staff. There we reviewed the updated versions of the plans. And it was a little different this year because we work with iReady, and then iReady was using document tracking system. So I entered a lot of information on document tracking system and how that got transferred back and forth. But our goals for this year, areas of pride and accomplishment. We're fully staffed at the community school, all the paras, all the teachers, everybody. So and that's really great because it does actually impact safety because people are able to supervise kids better, provide a more robust program to the students, and overall it's just a lot better. We also changed up the school counselor position, where the school counselor is 220 days a year now. The prior counseling position was only 186. So we have that much more available to the students at the community school and at West Hills School. There's a college career readiness course and a social emotional leadership course implemented for all the students. Mr. Damien does that on Mondays and Fridays. We're getting pretty good with our communication with partners and our local agencies. So with guardians, when they come in, they have to fill out a survey with us and meet and talk with us. That's the main time we get with them is for that. Communicating with our local agencies, this was actually a high point for us. We've been being really focused on developing our relationships and rebuilding, with probation, public health, our referring school districts, talking with some of our colleagues, my colleagues from around the state, with the implementation of Assembly Bill 1230 in January. We are kind of ahead in what some of the requirements are for safely referring students back to the school district and how we support them. Then we had radios. So we're buying more radios for community school. We already purchased them for Orr Creek, and I'm surprised I don't have them with me right now. But the radios are great. So I won't go over this for Orr Creek when that one comes up. But we have our radios, and the radios at Orr Creek. Every classroom has 3 radios. The school psychologists have a radio that they use when they're on campus. And then I have one, and our site secretary Linda has one, and that radio has a range up and down low gap. So I have a radio. I even responded to something when I was on my scooter. But I'm able to communicate with them. They're able to get a hold of me right away. So that's been great. Our office, our technology department is programming them. So we have a really kind of no nonsense channel schematic that's going to benefit everybody. And we're also going to be purchasing new radios for our community school so that all the programs there are all using the same radios. And one channel is for Orr Creek, another channel is for community school, and then a third channel is an all call for everyone in the instance that we need to access everybody. So that's super, and that's really great. So going over the workplace violence, everybody's trained on Avert and Proact and First Aid. We did that again. It's been really great. We've been trying to do demonstration nights for families. We've had some attendance, which has been good, but I couldn't get some families to stay later for the school site council. They kind of just they zipped out of there before I had a chance to capture them. So student awards, stuff like that's working out. So we do conferences at site. Our fit report was good, but there were some issues with flooring that we're going to work on. The heating and cooling systems at all the buildings on the community school are in need of repair, and the companies have been out there working on that just in the past few weeks. And we're also currently working on getting some locks, some work done on the locks. Just, the handles and the locks, they're keyed on both sides. It makes it kind of clumsy for locking and unlocking them. So we're going to be switching all the exterior door locks to where there's the inside handle is smooth. The outside handle, when you turn it, it disengages the lock so you can open the door. And when you take your key out, it stays locked. And then we have lock blocks on the door, which is a thing we can slide over to keep the door open. But if you slide it back, it locks right away. Because we were having some hiccups with, it's kind of clumsy to kind of lock and unlock the doors, and the double tumblers there were, I don't know, they just didn't play well together. So they're finishing up those right now. They're working on doing some more floor repairs that'll happen during the spring. Then we're going to continue to offer some SEL supports and really increase our guardian engagement. That's really a key area that we want to have happen. But that being said, at our WASC review last week, the people, our committee, were very happy. We managed to get a few people, guardians, at our meeting to meet with the WASC, and they were very talkative and appreciative of our programs. So we just hope to build on that. Okay.
I'm gonna open up Fort Creek. Is
Perfect.
that okay? Or
Sounds
do you
good.
want- Or is there more on here?
I think we're good.
Okay. In the same area?
Yeah, and it's also, because we're viewing it as, so I'm the principal of all the school programs, you're gonna see overlap in some of the work that we do. And I'll just kind of add on to what we have here. We're fully staffed down there right now. Every position is full. We've really increased our bilingual capacity down at Oak Creek. There are 4 bilingual Spanish employees there now, which is great. Really helps out with everybody. We made sure that everyone was PROACT trained. So for both programs, not just Oak Creek, there's the PROACT training that happened at the beginning of the school year, and that goes through and teaches everybody how to de-escalate situations, what to do when students are escalated, how to evade students if they become aggressive. And then we just finished up the restraint portion of PROACT in January. So everybody's all set and certified in that. And then we'll continue to do training for folks as they need to as they move forward. You'll see that there's a lot of the same stuff here, but some exciting things here for Oak Creek is that up at the community school, we've been doing the Mindful Warrior Project, which is year 2 right now. This is where students go to a dojo in Ukiah. And the person that runs it, Owen, he is a MFT, so it's part of a social emotional program that we do. And we expanded that to our Oak Creek students. So we have Oak Creek students and community school students going to the dojo. They're there, oh no, they probably just got back, but they go there 2 times per week on Mondays and Fridays. And it's been really great to have everybody together and participating in that program. The kids go through, they earn their gis, their belts, they get stripes on their belts with hopefully going on to get a yellow belt. And it's a really great experience for all of them as they go through. And we look to continue to expand that. And that really does, it really boosts our social emotional program, because the kids that participate in that program, they gain self-confidence. They're able to we count it as social emotional hours, counseling hours for students that have to meet the requirements to go back to the school district, and it's been a really positive event for everybody there. Same things down at Oak Creek, having to do with the locks, inviting more of the guardians over, getting them to participate more. But an area that we really want to focus on is increasing attendance in the middle and high school programs. For Oak Creek and for community school, we'd like to see more kids on site every single day. There have been a few of them that have been really challenging to have come to school, but we're going to branch out and make sure that we get more people there. So I think that's kind of where we're at. Any questions or anything? It's a big document.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, tons of good stuff in there. I mean, I may or may not use AI to search it if I need to find a policy.
Does anyone have any questions, comments? And do we want to table the approval of the plans until we have the complete data?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, the document itself won't change much, but you will have time to review the document, which you have not had, so.
Yeah.
And we will have some, we hope to have some edits made by the company.
It's only a great idea because we have another meeting.
Right, yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I move that we table 4.4 until we can read the corrected document.
I'll second.
Thank you, Dawn. All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item 4.5. This is the official California School Board Association 2026 ballot for the CSBA Delegate Assembly. Yes, there you can, on that ballot, you'll see that there is one delegate assembly for regional, one candidate for sub-region 1B, which is Lake and Mendocino County. And that's Nancy Hudson, who sits on the Lake County Board of Education. In order to vote, since this body doesn't, individuals don't make decisions of this body, only the body does. So if the body wants to vote for Nancy or write-in candidate or anything else, there needs to be a motion and a second and all the voting to it. And then we would submit this on your behalf. We would have, it would be signed by Nancy and myself, I believe. Does anyone have any questions? Comments?
We're lucky to have someone
Yeah.
willing to do it.
Yeah, I move
She
that,
seems like a strong candidate to
Yeah.
represent us, or represent the area.
I would move that we approve item 4.5, which nominates Nancy for our 2026 ballot for CSBA Delegate Assembly.
Thank you, Marilyn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Moving on to item 4.6, discussion of the March 6th annual planning meeting. Yes, so Nancy and I have met. We've discussed the upcoming meeting. We have reached out and met with Michael Greer, who met with the board. It was before David was a member of the board, but he did a study session with us before. We've talked to Chris Francis. So I think the direction that we're going is to spend that time really getting to know each other better as far as what draws us to the board, what values, things that we'd like to accomplish, but also getting to know the schools that this body has oversight over, and Chris presenting more, not just data, but talking about students and what it's like to be in the school, coming in and out of the school. So Nancy and I have been working on that, wanted to make sure or get feedback if that's the direction we want to go. And a little twist is that on that same day in Fort Bragg, there's a community school convening. Community school as in community school grant, not a community school such as our alt-ed school. So in Fort Bragg Unified, they'll be doing some walkthroughs of 3 of their schools, looking at programs. We don't necessarily need to be a part of that for the entire day. They start at either 9 or 9:30, I think, which we generally start around 11. So those of us that wanted to go and see the kickoff, we expect that Assemblymember Rogers and State Senator McGuire will either be attending or have staff attending. So it would be a great place to kind of see and get a feel for what's going on prior to our meeting. Their whole schedule for the day is not completely fleshed out, but I think it sounds pretty certain that we could join. Anyone who wanted to get there early could join and just be part of the opening of that day. So that's, I think, all we were going to talk about, wasn't it, Nancy? I believe so.
Oh, and the other thing was that we have a board self-evaluation tool that I'll be sending out soon. We use the same tool and we can decide at that meeting if we want to change that tool for future events, but for this year, we thought we would just send that to you. And we can look at that, and Mike, Michael Walsh is very, he's a facilitator of the meeting. He's not leading the meeting, he's just facilitating the work that we want to do. He seemed to do a good job of that before, so we thought we'd invite him back.
I wrote down Michael Greer. Is it Mike Walsh?
Michael Greer is he was on that ballot that you just looked at,
Okay.
and he's a representative from Del Norte and Humboldt.
Okay, okay. So we said Greer, but it was Walsh. is
Sorry, Michael Walsh.
facilitating.
I
Gotcha.
misspoke, sorry. Just looked at his name on that ballot,
Okay.
so.
I thought, who's this fella? Okay, gotcha.
So if there are any strong opinions or on this or feedback, we'd love to hear it now so that we can take that into consideration as we continue to plan.
Just questions about the meetup. So I think we did this before where we toured the school before we did our
We
planning
did that when we held
before.
one of our regular meetings.
Oh, regular meetings,
in
okay.
Fort Bragg, so this is a little bit different.
And it would be meeting up to be determined.
So
place.
sorry, that's the other thing. We have a site for us to meet in Fort Bragg. It's at the Chamber of Commerce, which is right there on Franklin Street. So that's where we would be meeting. Anyone who wanted to attend early and wouldn't be part of the meeting, and it's not a Brown Act violation if you attend, it's a community event. That would be, I'll send you the details, but that's gonna be in one of the Fort Bragg cafeterias or library. No, they're starting the Fort Bragg High School Library.
Oh, and we'll be sent the
I'll send you the details
address
as I have that, yeah.
of the
Of
Chamber
the-
of Commerce.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Probably
and
easy to find, but
Yeah, and as always, all of our board meetings are open to the public. But we don't anticipate public coming to this one. That is not a meeting that we put on YouTube or stream. It's the logistics of that are kind of tricky, and it's a really long meeting. So it will be pretty much from 11 till probably 3 or 4. So count on pretty much the full day, and we'll have lunch there and snacks to keep you going.
Sounds good.
snacks are good.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah, sounds like it's a, well planned out and, sounds good.
Do we need to take action to approve the calendar? I think we need to take action to approve the location of the meeting. That's why the board meeting schedule is attached here. And so the location of the meeting is in this attachment, and that is, it has the address here, I believe.
It just indicates Mendocino Coast Chamber of Commerce, but we can send you guys out the
Yeah.
address.
And we'll put that in the agenda as well. Okay. So that we do need to approve because we had that as TBD prior.
So I move that we approve item 4.6 and the location of our annual planning meeting at the Chamber of Commerce in Fort Bragg.
I'll second that
Thank you,
motion.
David. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to item 5.1, 2025-26 LCAP mid-year review.
Good morning. So each year we have to do a mid-year report out of where we stand with our LCAP. And if you could open the second one.
2025?
And for the board who knows this, but for any public that might be watching, the LCAP is a local control accountability plan.
Thank you. So we're going to talk a little bit about where some of our data comes from because we have to report on our dashboard. So California has a school dashboard for every school district. Our school district, when you see this, you'll say, well, where's all the data? Our numbers are so small that most of our data is not reportable. If you're under 11, sometimes the number is 7, depending on the type of data they're trying to report on. But for the California dashboard, they give these nice little dials. They're kind of like your gas tank. Blue being the highest performing, green is next, yellow, orange, and red with the lowest performance. If you can go to the next slide. So it's basically a report card. It's designed so that the public and parents can really see how their school district or school is doing. And so that it's easy with the dial and the colors, and that we can communicate it out easily. Next slide, please. So there are several state measures that we get a dial for. The first is academic performance in English language arts, and then for mathematics, how we are doing with chronic absenteeism. A reminder, chronic absenteeism, we measure K through 8 only. We don't measure high school attendance because it's a little wonky with period schedules and things like that. It's not easy to capture. So chronic absenteeism is reported for K through 8. And it's the numbers of days students are absent. Doesn't matter if they're excused or unexcused. So if they are absent for more than 10% of their school days, so that's 18 days out of 180, then they would be considered chronically absent, even if they're excused for medical or other reasons. English language progress, that what we call the ELPI. So how are our English learners progressing on the LPAC score? High school graduation rate, suspension rate, which is all grades, college and career readiness, which is high school, and we also now have a measure for the science test. Then there's also the local indicators. Each year we report on the LCAP. We also give you the local indicators, and it's a little rating that the teachers and the parents and things give ratings on where we're at with teaching, for example, preparing our teachers to teach their subject matter. And you either get a standard met because you did it and you turned it in, or you get a standard not met because you didn't turn it in. So we have standard met for both of ours. If we can scroll down. There are 14 student groups that also get indicators. And like I said, our groups are so tiny that we're not going to get student indicators. But the 14 groups are African American, American Indian, Native Alaskan, Asian, Filipino, Hispanic Latino, Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander, 2 or more races, which means that when they sign up that their parent checks off more than one race at a time, white, English learners, long-term English learners, so that is English learners that have been in the system for more than 7 years, socioeconomically disadvantaged, foster youth, students experiencing homelessness, and students with disabilities. We can scroll to the next one, please. There were some changes for this dashboard. They added some data on the California science test. They updated the college and career indicator. That's kind of a moving target because they do a conglomerate of grad rate, how many did A through G courses, did they have internships, AP courses. Not everybody also is AP anymore, so it's dual norm. There's a multitude of factors to determine if students are prepared for college or career. They've updated some of the requirements for academics. They also added a growth data model, which we won't have anything for that because we don't have enough students. They're monitoring some teacher assignments as well as turning in their data for CalPADS. So CalPADS is the system that we upload all of our data to, and you have to meet certain deadlines. And if you didn't meet those deadlines, you now are in differentiated assistance. We don't have any in our county in differentiated assistance for CalPADS. Next slide, please. State indicator scores, those colors are a little wonky. There's two pieces of getting a color. It's how are you doing and how much did you change? So if you look here on the purple, if this district had a low success rate in chronic absenteeism and it increased their chronic absenteeism, so they got worse, they were scored a yellow, even though they have a very low number of kids that are chronically absent. Another district that has a higher level of chronic absenteeism, but they had a sharp decline, so they got better, they're rated green. So it takes into account where you're at and how much did you move, which also is a little wonky because if you have great scores or great levels, you can only move so much, right? So there's a sliding scale here. So when you see green, it doesn't always mean they're doing well. It just means that they've either declined where they needed to or increased where they needed to, which is a good movement. So they want to give credit for that. Next slide. We can skip that one. That's if we were doing. So here's our indicators all on one page. As you can see, we only get one color. We only have enough students to actually get the suspension rate color. For academics, English, language arts, and math, they only test grades 3 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11. So we don't have enough students in all those grades to really get a number. So science is the same. Chronic absenteeism rate in our K-8, we have very low numbers. Suspension rate, though, is the full scale of grade levels. So we have a lot more kids to be able to get a suspension rate. English learners, we have a very low English learner population, so we don't get a progress score. Grad rate, we have very few kids in that 12th grade level, and same for college and career. So the only color we're going to get is the suspension rate. If you can roll through. So this shows you historically we have no color. We don't even get a number, but the California rate is about 8.1 points below where they want to be, and they were yellow for the state. Same for math, we are below for the state at 42.4 points below. Science, this was the first year that they gave colors for science, so California had a yellow overall. Our state level is 46.4% of English learners are progressing, which means that 54% are not progressing. Keep going. Grad rate, California was in the green, which means they increased their rate. They're at 87.8% overall. These are all the factors that go into college and career indicators. It's in your board report. You can go scrolling through them to see, especially if you're looking at our Ukiah, Fort Bragg, all of our districts. These are all the things that give a calculation about what that color is, and we wanted to present that to you. But we have so few students in these categories that we're not going to get a color for here either. But overall, the state is at 51.7% prepared for college and career based on all those factors. Chronic absenteeism, the state is at 17.1%. We know our data that we were lower than that last year locally, but it's not reportable by the state. We do have some high percentages in the county that are more in the 30 to 40% ranges for chronic absenteeism. But here's our suspension rate data. So in the past, in 2023, we were in the red color, orange in 2024, but we decreased 11.6% last year down to 5.7% suspended. California is in the green at 2.9, but you can see that each of our 3 categories of students, Hispanic, long-term English learners, and socially disadvantaged, all had the color of yellow, which means that we did better last year. We lowered our suspension rates. We're going to have to see what happens this coming year. We have such a population that's so small that one student can really drastically influence this. But the suspension rate is how many students were suspended, not how many times they were suspended. So 5.7% of all of our students were suspended last year. And this is broken down by colors for our schools. You'll see Oak Creek's not on there, but the community school was in orange for suspension, which means they did do better, but not as well as the whole color. And then our West Hills were green. It's hard to get suspended in West Hills. They're already in juvenile hall.
Why
Actually, it is. They do have the same rules as everybody else, and they've had more guidance on their end of it about how that's inputted to make sure that it is inputted. So it's a legitimate number now.
Which is excellent.
I'm just wondering why or Creek's not on there?
I think the person that presented this for us didn't put Oak Creek in here. I'll have to look and see if they had a color
Yeah.
suspension.
Chris, do you know those numbers?
Yeah, I do. So okay, the Port Creek suspension almost never happens because it's a school that's for students identified with emotional disabilities. So we have multiple layers of intervention in place prior to that happening, and it would only happen on a very severe instance of either injury or something else. And I think there was probably one from last year. A few more this year. For next year's report, but really that's why is we almost never do that because of the level of support that we give and what the needs of the students are.
Got it, thank you.
By our student groups, you can see we were all in yellow, which is great for all of our groups, Hispanic, long-term English learners, and socioeconomically disadvantaged. We give this data, but remember, we only had one dial. The state has all the dials. So when you look at our average, we're at 2.6 versus the California is at 3.4, but we only have one dial influencing this. So it's not really a great measure. But the next one does compare us across all of the 21 similar COEs. And 21 similar, that means that their enrollment's below 500 and their unduplicated rate is above 70%, such as us. And out of those 21 COEs, our suspension rate was 10th in the list. So we're right smack dab kind of in the middle compared to other similar COEs. And that's kind of our update of data. But then we're going to move to our other document, which is the LCAP mid-year report. And I just want to explain what you're seeing and then see if you have any questions. So we are reporting out on each of our goals and on the expected annual measure objectives. This is where that kind of tan column is our mid-year outcome data. Some of the data we're not going to have any mid-year because if it's a state test, they don't test until this spring. We don't have any mid-year data. And all the metrics we are provided in here, there's a few local, but otherwise they're really scripted by the state. So for example, when you see the credentialing of teachers, that's scripted. When we talk about our school facilities, that's scripted by the state. We look at graduation rates, dropout rates, all those are scripted. We have to have them included in our LCAPs. So if we scroll down a little bit, because that's the metrics page, you'll then get to where it says actions and measuring and reporting results. So this is the other piece that we report on at this time. It'll tell you what our goals and actions were in our LCAP, what our implementation level is. So if it's ongoing and stuff that we're working on, sometimes it's completed, sometimes it's not started because we haven't worked on that or decided not to move forward. And then you have the outcome data in the middle, as well as how much money all the way over that we've spent on that so far this year. So on goal 1.1, you'll see that we spent $0 so far, but it's $0 of LCAP money. We may have spent money elsewhere because we do still have a lot of those one-time funds. A lot of them come due at the end of this year, so we're trying to use those up before we touch the LCAP money. So you'll be able to see that as you roll through. Is there any questions on any of these goals or actions? Yeah.
Down on, let's see, page 24 in the 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. It looks like we have budgeted funds for mental health clinicians for Oak Creek, but we have not implemented them. Does that mean we don't have any clinicians yet hired?
So what we moved last year, our mental health clinician, we moved towards a counselor position this year that could do both the academic as well as the social emotional piece. So we had to leave this in here because we had it in the LCAP last year, but we have shifted the role a little bit that was more applicable to the sites. So that's why it says not implemented and the funds are there. They're being used elsewhere for the counselor. And actually we've shifted that funding even more because we have funds that we can use for the counselor that are one time so that we can save the LCAP money.
Is the what's the education level of the counselor?
You want to share on that one?
Is it a psychiatrist or?
3.1, there is a mental health, there's a therapist there that works with the kids. So yeah, this number is just 0 for right now because they're working on encumbering that. There's a portion of the school psychologists that are there at Oak Creek. In regards to the mental health, for the mental health support, or 3.2, we changed that last year, right? So the qualifications for the person that is in the school counselor position is they have a PPS credential, a master's, it's a people personnel services credential, and they also have a master's degree in school counseling. So that authorizes them to provide social emotional learning for students. They do groups and stuff like that, as well as academic counseling and overall guidance for the students as they go through. We also have a system in place to refer over to mental health clinicians and partnerships with like Youth Project, Community Services, and Tapestry Services.
Oh, good. So we have more than one practitioner covering all the kids.
No, we have one school counselor.
One counselor, okay.
Who is covering all those, no problem. for community school and West Hills, but they also provide only guidance counseling, academic counseling for Oak Creek. So the guidance counselor goes to Oak Creek too. Now at Oak Creek, there's a school psychologist and an individual therapist. The school psychologist provides group group counseling 2 times per week, and then the therapist there offers therapy 1 time per week individual.
Wonderful.
This was for an additional position
okay.
initially when this LCAP was developed. And over Chris's time last year, we saw that the position didn't have the academic counseling piece, and we needed to be able to have someone that could do both so that it could be related. So we shifted a little bit, but they still have other mental health services.
Okay, I was just curious. It looks like 3.1 and 3.2 are 2 different practitioners, but it's all one.
Yes, last year we had 1 position, this additional position covering both. So the funding is just shifted to someone that can do more.
Awesome. Thank you for clearing that up, Chris.
Any other questions?
I was just curious about 1.4. Get back to it. College and career readiness, budgeted for 75,000, but already at 106,000 at mid-year.
So looking at that, so expanding college and career readiness, create and implement the CCR course, there's workability, partnering with UUSD, and yes, we're above that information. So some of those are also field trips, so we have implemented some additional field trips to get students out and about that we have coded here to college and career readiness so that they can have some exposure to other things outside of the classroom.
And the fact that it's over what has been budgeted means someplace else we're doing less.
For example, not necessarily, it's, there's, for example, the mental health clinician at the end, we are using other funds to support the academic counselor that we hired in that position, so we have those funds available. So these are just estimates of where we're at right now. We are allowed to move between pots of money if we would like, as long as we don't go over, and we are underspending our LCAP at this point.
Thank you.
And if you go over, it comes out of our reserve. Right?
Or out of other one-time funds. So right now we have several grants that are ending that are also funding these pieces.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, good. Seeing none, we'll move on. Thank you so much. Move on to item 5.2, the first read of some board policies. Quite a few.
There, you can see the track changes.
I appreciate the red in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Very good.
Any questions about any of the policies for the first read? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to item 5.3, which is the trustee area 2 vacancy.
We just had a special board meeting. We don't necessarily have a lot to talk about on this, but I wanted to put it on there in case anybody wanted to discuss further, and also to remind people that we are intending to have a special board meeting February 24th with the idea that hopefully we'll have applicants to interview, and that will be, again, a meeting that is in the evening. We won't have tech there to stream it. And we will also have the safety plans brought to you again, but
And what time is that here?
I don't know that we've put the time.
We didn't put a time.
Does 4:45 is the time that we held our last one. Did that work for you all okay?
Works
Yes,
for me.
for me it worked well.
And that was the 24th?
Yes, February 24th.
Special board meeting 4:45 on the 24th.
And that will be, those that want to attend in Fort Bragg can attend from the Fort Bragg office. Those that want to attend here, we will have it either here or in most likely in my office.
Can you remind me where the vacancy is posted with the application?
Yeah, we just posted it on our website
This morning?
We also posted it on the social media.
Okay.
And to our Facebook pages.
Okay,
Our
great.
page. And then starting, actually on Saturday, it was posted in Ukiah Daily Journal.
Oh,
And
great.
it will run all the way through the 18th. twice a week, all the way to the 18th. I mean, applications are due by the 19th.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, moving on to item 5.4, press release for the new facility. Expands the medical training career opportunities in Mendocino County.
And just in case you missed it, wanted to bring that to your attention. It was really, we appreciate the press that they printed our press release, put the pictures up. It came out in many different publications. And as you can see, is a picture, did we get the picture in there?
Yeah, I think it's on
Yeah.
link.
Yeah, it takes you to the webpage, but yeah, so there's a picture with lots of people attending.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful event. Thank
It
you,
was
Nancy,
great.
for coming.
The
Yeah.
next
was a-
generation standing right there.
Right.
Yeah, it
Had
was
to
a-
look
it was
to
a fun
find
event.
Nancy, but she's back there.
I was there. Okay, thank you all. Moving on to item 6.1, MCOE School Student Representative Report. Do we have?
We do not have a
Anything?
student here to present.
Okay, moving item 6.2, MCOE School Programs and Student Enrollment Report.
You have the enrollment update report. Just a few things to note. West Hills, there were several return to districts. That's the drop in enrollment there. And then we did have a few with the medical assistant program that there was some funding or scheduling conflicts that account for that drop in enrollment.
Any questions? Moving on to item 6.3, MCOE Human Resources Report for January.
I don't know if you have any questions, but you can see some updated personnel changes.
Okay, seeing none, moving on to item 6.4, Educational Services Report. Dr. Nicole Dell.
You have our report. There are just one or two things I'd like to point out. First is we had our WASC review that's talked about in the MCOE school programs for the community school in West Hills. That happened last week and we had an excellent report. We're waiting for the final report, but everything looks excellent. We're hoping for the 6th year with a mid-year visit, which is about the best you can get. So we're very proud that that happened. Congratulations, Chris. In addition, we hired, you'll be seeing that on our next month's hire report, we hired a new senior naturalist, Abigail Fry. She just got settled in here starting last week, and we're looking forward to seeing what she can do. She has some different skill sets than our last naturalist and some different experience, having worked at a zoo and some other things. So we're looking forward to seeing what she can bring to the program. And otherwise, I believe Laytonville won the mock trial on Saturday, and we'll be going to state finals. And then, yeah, otherwise, I spent a lot of time in jury duty last month, as well as writing a teacher residency grant. So we hope to hear by March 9th whether we are receiving that. We applied as a consortium with us as the lead to hopefully bring some residents to our county so we can increase our teachers. We'll see what happens.
Great, thank you so much. Any questions?
No.
Okay, seeing none, moving on, item 6.5, Business and Administrative Services Report with Heather Reynolds.
Well, I'm gonna keep it somewhat short because you've heard from Suzanne on the audit report, so that's pretty much, there's a lot of things always going on in fiscal, gearing up for second interim, closing out the last fiscal year. There is a couple of things I wanted to note though. One is around Stay Well, in case you don't know, Stay Well is a separate JPA than MCOE. It's made up of 11 school districts, 10 in Mendocino County, 1 in Sonoma County, a charter school here in Mendocino County, as well as MCOE. We participate in the JPA, and then also a local nonprofit from this area. And there's been some really high cost claims that have been coming out over the last couple of years. One claim for one service was, I think, $2 million. So this is a self-insured group. So there's, we have to have adequate reserves and all the other things to be financially solvent. And given the high cost of those claims over the last couple of years, we're seeing those reserves kind of dwindle out a little bit. And because of that specifically, the committee in January, and just so that you know, there's about three representatives from every agency that participates that is a voting member in that committee. And they chose to discontinue Stable starting the next school year, July 1. And there's not gonna be any like coverage concerns. We're just gonna be closing out Staywell and transitioning over to a couple, there's a couple options that we're looking at. One is Resig, which is the JPA, and I think they have about 35 districts that are participating. So it'd be joining forces with them, which is a very stable JPA. And then the other one is CVT, California Valued Trust. So they're gonna be hopefully voting on what direction to go with that for next year at tomorrow's full committee meeting. But because this is gonna impact all of you, I also wanted you to be aware of that. And what that means for coverage is just, it would be open enrollment, and then you would just be transitioning over to either option. I also want to give Sky some props because the radios that Chris Francis was talking about, we generally would have to take it to like Fisher Wireless or somewhere else to get those programmed, and Sky figured it out and was able to save us some money on doing that, and yeah, it's pretty awesome. And then as you can see, there's lots of facility work happening. We're finally getting some roofs repaired and replaced, and at the next board meeting in March, we will be bringing back that solar project a little bit more refined, kind of like dialed in for approval at that meeting. So that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Sky. We're lucky to have you. Okay. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, move on to item 6.6, Superintendent's Report.
So I appreciate those of you that were able to accompany me or another staff member to some of the board meetings for Board Appreciation Month. We've hit all of the school districts except for Mendocino, and I'm going there tomorrow night. So didn't get them in January, but we'll get them their goodies. The last week of January is always a busy week for me. It takes me out of town. There are two things that happen back to back. One is the California County Superintendent's Academy and General Membership Meeting. So I was there last week, super helpful to hear some of the things that that we're working on for legislation, advocacy, also some potential changes to how schools are identified for differentiated assistance, also some potential changes on how county offices are funded to support schools. The general membership meeting and the academy is followed immediately by the AXA Superintendent Symposium. And we, as usual, had some district superintendents from Mendocino County that attend, so I attended that with them. It's a pretty long week, but there's a lot of great things that come from that. I made some connections with some vendors, providers that I think may be able to provide some helpful support to either Mendocino County Office of Education or schools. One in particular being a program that offers very affordable liberal arts degrees to employees. So more to come on that. Perhaps we'll see. I haven't met with the vendors yet, but I have several meetings following up from that symposium. And I'm always really impressed with spending extended time with the superintendents from Mendocino County. We have some really high quality superintendents that are really, they go to those sessions and really come out with a lot. And then for the whole following year, we're talking about things that we've learned and how they're implementing them. So that was time well spent. Last Friday, we had a Region 1 County Office meeting. Region 1 for California County offices is Del Norte, Humboldt, Mendocino, Sonoma, and Lake counties. We've been having, annually we hold a conference for them here in Mendocino County. And then also annually we go to a different county office or a different county and hold a convening where we learn together as county office leadership So there were 8 of us from our county that are part of that, and then we take some time to do job-alike groups. Really, really valuable time to talk about what the work looks like in each county. There are some marked differences, and there are also a lot of similarities, and there's just so much to learn from one another. So this is something that had been done for a while. It was one of those things that COVID kind of ruined, and then has been brought back the last couple of years, and it's been time really well spent. I got to drive one of our new vans to take that, so that was fun for me. As Dr. Odell mentioned, we had mock trial on Saturday. Marilyn, thank you for coming to that. It was a very, very tight competition this year. We had the schools that participated were Fort Bragg, Ukiah, and Laytonville. The history in our county, Laytonville, for a long, long time dominated. And sometime around 2014 or 2015, I can't remember when, Ukiah kind of took over, and Ukiah has consistently run for several years. Last year, Ukiah won, and then we were contacted by the state mock trial that they needed another team for their seating, and I think because Laytonville had scored, I can't remember what, but they said, do you have another team to send? And we said yes, and we sent in Laytonville, and they got a taste for it. They're like, oh yeah, that's what it's like to go to state. And so they've been working really hard. When I was at their board meeting last month, one of their student attorneys is also a student board rep, and he talked about the scrimmages that they've been going to out of county and the work that they've been putting in. And I've been going to our mock trial competition since I've been in office, and never have I seen quite the crowd that we had on Saturday. I'm pretty sure that there were 2 or 3 adults from Laytonville for every member of their team. So it was a packed house, more than any of the courtrooms could hold. But Laytonville won, and we're super proud of the work that they've done. But really, all the teams did so well. Next year, if you have a chance to come, when you watch, it is astonishing to think how quickly these students think on their feet and defending their stance on a particular law and making objections to the opposing team's argument, and then having to defend why they think that the opposing team's line of questioning is inappropriate, and they have to cite the case law that supports their argument. It's really great to see, so I'm really proud of that work. And then of course, WASC, Nicole mentioned that all of us in whatever job you do, there are those things that bring a really high level of stress, and WASC for a school site, for a high school, is definitely one of the highest stress things that happen because it's accreditation. And so Dr. Odell pointed out that it was really a successful visit, but I just kind of want to underscore that, because to be successful in that, it takes a lot, and the weight of that has been on the staff there for a while, and it doesn't go away, because your accreditation, you get reviewed, and and the idea with the accreditation is that the schools can never just sit back and say, well, we're doing a good enough job, we should just keep going. The whole idea is what is the school doing to constantly be trying to find ways to do better. And so I just want to underscore the work that Chris has done, that Nicole has done, and that the team at our schools have done, because it's a remarkable thing to go through. It's unavoidable. And also the audits, that happens annually, and our team always fares very well with it, but it's always a little bit stressful. You can't even say audit with most of us not having our blood pressure spike just a little bit. But so we've been doing a lot of the teams here have been doing a lot of really good work, and I just want to let you know I'm super proud of our team here, and this month especially with the WASC and the audit, just a reminder of the level of stress that they kind of go up and down with, but it never goes away, and they're doing so, they handle it so well. So that's the end of my report.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Are the mock trials always in Ukiah?
They are, because they're at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Just curious, because Fort Bragg has a courthouse as well, and I know they have a team
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah. Well, what that's one thing we were talking about. The courthouse. We might, if we're going to have crowds like that, the courtrooms aren't meant for spectators. So we're going to see if we can do something to help people spectate without actually having to get them in a courthouse, because we have, and then also ideally we would have more teams sign up, because in many counties you have multiple cases going on at the same time. So anyway,
I wonder if the new courthouse will,
I think it will handle it very well.
oh, okay,
It's a big BMS.
The age of the building here is definitely a contributing factor.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I can go ahead and do mine. Mine's very short and sweet, if everyone's okay with that.
Sure.
So since our last regular board meeting, I was able to attend the board appreciation for both Leggett and Fort Bragg Unified. And that was really, really nice to attend. Thanks for coming with me, and Veronica for doing the talking at Fort Bragg, because I was not feeling well, and so thanks for saying everything. And then I think on, January 22nd, I participated in an ACCBE President's Workshop. That's all I have.
Good for you.
Thank you.
I have nothing extra to report.
Yeah, I don't, it was a very stressful month for me. I closed on my house in Willits. Don't worry, I'm not changing districts. So we finally closed on Friday, and I think going forward, I'll have more time to get to more events. But yeah, it was we were in escrow from the 16th of December until the 6th of February. Got extended twice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, homeowner, first time homeowner.
Yay.
But yeah, nothing to report.
I
Other than
don't
that.
see any new gray hairs.
They're all in the beard. They're all in the beard.
Well, I'm last in line, and yeah, mock trials was a blast. It was definitely shoulder to shoulder. I think there was 80 to 100 people.
Right.
I mean, everybody, but it was a super spreader event. We were really in close quarters. And interesting, every person that I sat next to, because you take a break and go back in, was a teacher from Laytonville, there to support. One was a retired teacher from Laytonville, there to support. So I thought, I would ask, are you a parent, because I had my badge on, they could see who I was, but, and it was so cool. It was very cool. I really thought Ukiah was the strongest. I don't know the young lady's first name, but she was the first speaker, and she was very
Emery
dynamic.
Upchurch's daughter
Okay.
was the Ukiah High, Emery works for COE,
Okay.
and she was recognized as one of the outstanding attorneys. So
okay.
in one of the competitions, she didn't, anyway, there are multiple
Probably who was-
presentations.
yeah, I was really impressed with her, but it was definitely Laytonville's turn.
That's awesome.
And I think that's all I have to report.
How do they decide who?
So they have multiple competitions, so you have a defense team and a prosecution team, and they go against different ones. And so they have a scoring rubric, and I don't know all the scoring, they went over with the judges in advance. And so it's much like, for an athletic comparison, like if you look at a swim team, individual, you can have outstanding individuals, but everyone's score is contributing to the overall team score. And so Laytonville had, competed twice, Fort Bragg and Ukiah, and I can't remember if it was a defense or offense, or defense and prosecution, but I had to code switch out of athletics, but so they have the scoring is each witness that they have, because you can either be an attorney, you can be a bailiff, the witness, a timekeeper, and each role gets a score. And then there's a verdict for each one, and the verdict was not the same every time. There were 3 different judges for each different competition that we held, and the judge's verdict does not weigh on the score. So there's a judge who gives a verdict, and there are 3 attorneys. One comes from Sonoma County, and one comes from the coast, and one's here in Ukiah, and they score, and then their scores are compiled. And then they also come together and select an outstanding witness, outstanding attorneys, and some of the other outstanding roles. They also have a court reporter and a courtroom artist.
Oh,
That's awesome.
I did have a question. So I think it was last meeting we had reported that we had 5 teams, and then it went down to 3.
Oh, so in the scrimmage, they had 5.
Oh, okay.
Because there was, I believe this is correct, the middle schools were participating, and there is no middle school competition at the state level.
That's
So
right,
at the
yeah.
scrimmage, they
Okay.
come, And that is really impressive to see middle schoolers talking about, I object, Your Honor,
Yeah.
and then having to say why. But they can't compete in the state level, so they're only there for the scrimmage.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so that closes out board member reports. We have no closed session to report. Closing items, annual planning workshop is scheduled for March 6th in Fort Bragg. And 8.2 adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
You wanna keep it going?
But we do want to keep it going because now we have a follow-up meeting.